Congressman Andrew Clyde, Republican of Georgia, stood in solidarity with President Trump outside the New York courthouse, where the president is being persecuted by the Marxist Dems in New York as obnoxious hecklers tried to drown him out. Clyde rightly denounced the judge as very one-sided. Clyde, of course, is correct. This has never been about justice, these persecution show trials of President Trump. It's about interfering with the 2024 election. And joining us tonight is Congressman Andrew Clyde. He is a terrific guy. He's a terrific American, and we're delighted to have him, and especially so because he spent some of his time up in the courtroom of Judge Juan Merchant. Not an easy place to be if you're an American. He was there to support President Donald Trump, and I can't wait, Congressman. First of all, welcome. It's great to have you with us. What was your sense of what was going on in that courtroom with Judge Merchant, the prosecutor, a Soros-backed prosecutor, Alvin Bragg?
Lou, great to be with you. Well, I'll tell you, I went up there to support the president, to encourage him, and he ended up being quite an encouragement to me to see the positive attitude that he has literally because of everything he's dealt with in that courtroom over the last 6 weeks or so. Never seen such a one-sided judge, someone who consistently ruled for the prosecution and would not allow the defense either the witnesses or the evidence that they wanted to present that was legitimate evidence. And not just in my opinion, but Alan Dershowitz was actually there when I was there. And you know, he's an amazing law professor at Harvard and incredible experience.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I say he's a legend in the law. I mean, he really is.
Oh, absolutely. He is a legend. He's a legend. And he was saying exactly the same thing, that that he was shocked at this judge's conduct. The judge is incredibly, convicted, in my opinion, or he just doesn't really have the ability to not be partisan. And I really think he shouldn't be on the bench in this trial. I mean, he's got a conflict with his daughter, who is literally a Democrat operative. And she is raking in millions upon millions of dollars because of her position as the daughter of this judge in, for Democrat candidates in their Democrat elections. So there's a huge conflict right there. This judge is so incredibly anti-Trump that I don't, I asked the president, how in the world do you handle this? And he said, well, it's been going on a while. And honestly, the more that they come after me, the more the American people see through what they're doing, and my poll numbers just go up. And so that was the silver lining right there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I see so much evil when I see Merchant, and I think of Soros supporting Bragg, and the ignorance of bringing in the number 3 guy in the Justice Department to lead the prosecution for poor old Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, as if he couldn't handle it. And by the way, I don't know whether that judgment is correct or not, but right now I will tell you, I look at that courtroom, every picture I see, I keep looking for glimpses of sulfur rising up from the floor. This is evil incarnate. It's ignorance. It's beyond anything that should be happening in America. But I say the same thing of the January 6ers as well. How can we have people in jail for 40 months without a trial? How can we permit these kinds of persecutions? What in hell has this country come to that this is the norm under this fool of a puppet president?
Well, I'll tell you, Lou, I saw in the courtroom, they're going after President Trump literally for a Class E echo or a felony, rather, or a misdemeanor. And in doing so, they're actually forgiving a Class C or Class Charlie felony from Michael Cohen. Because when I was in the courtroom, one of the things that came out was that a crime was actually discovered, a legitimate crime, but it had nothing to do with the president. He was the victim of that crime, not the perpetrator of it. It was Michael Cohen who actually admitted on the stand to stealing $30,000 from the Trump organization, making President Trump the victim in that courtroom, all right, and not someone who has committed any crime whatsoever. So that was the only crime that I ever saw in the courtroom. And for them to forgive that higher level crime and go after what a trumped up lower level crime just shows you how twisted the prosecution truly is. They will do anything to get President Trump and to prevent him from actually becoming the nominee and going against Biden in the November election, because Biden, I don't think, has the ability to beat him, and they all know that.
Was the courtroom overflowing? What was it, crowded?
There was not an empty seat in that courtroom. We even, there was some of us that we had to sit in the back initially before we could get a seat closer up to the front, closer to the president. But there wasn't an empty seat in that courtroom, and the press was all there. And everybody, most everybody in that courtroom was against President Trump, except for his legal team and those of us who came in support of him.
So, did you get any sense of the jury? How do they look to you? Are they paying attention? Have they already made up their minds? Are they shocked or in any way reacting to what was unfolding? I mean, what you're describing is a disgrace in that courtroom that day.
Well, I noticed that when the jury would walk out and walk in, none of them would ever look at President Trump. It's almost like they felt that if they looked at him, that they would have to pity him or something. But that kind of bothered me in that regard. But most of the jury looked pretty, deadpan in their faces. We had to stand up when the jury entered and when the jury left, and we had to stand up when the judge entered and the judge left. But I noticed that when the judge was in the courtroom and the jury came in, the judge didn't stand for the jury. So I don't know if that meant something, that he didn't respect the jury or what. But, President Trump stood for the jury and stood for the judge every time they entered or left. But what is truly happening here is a disgrace to our legal system. We want to believe that we have a good legal system, and that people are judged by their peers, and that justice is truly just. But I didn't see that in this courtroom whatsoever. This is absolutely a travesty of justice, in my opinion, of what's going on. And I'm sure President Trump will eventually prevail. It may not be in this exact courtroom. It may have to be on appeal. But that would be an example then of the process becomes, the penalty here. And I think that's exactly where the Biden administration and the New York Democrats are going. They want the process to be the penalty.
Yeah. It seems to me that we've lost two important institutions in this country under Joe Biden. Not all of it, am I saying, is his fault, but it's all coming together under his administration, and much of it is his fault. And one is the collapse of our public schools, which have always been the greatest institution as an equalizer in our society. If you worked hard, you studied, your talent would carry you, and you would succeed, you would achieve the American dream. And the other institution is our judiciary, our justice system. And right now we have wide open, in your face, bald and raw, abject corruption, whether it's the prosecutors taking George Soros money or Alex Soros money, whether it is judges that have decided to exercise some fealty to an ideology that is barbaric and demands the destruction of America. We are in a world of hurt in this country. And I want to give you the last word here today, Congressman. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts and your observances with us, and God bless you. You get the last word.
Well, thank you, Lou. I just want to encourage folks out there that I have never seen a fighter willing to take on the fight more than President Trump. And I think that's why the country loves him so much, because he is a fighter. He's willing to take it, and he's willing to bear it but he's never going to give up. He's willing to persevere. And eventually, in the end, I believe we're going to win this. And, I encourage the president, if he or any of his staff see this interview, that we're with you, Mr. President, and we're on your side, and we will defend you to the hilt, because he's doing the right thing. The president is.
Well, we appreciate you being with us here this evening, and I'm sure the president is deeply appreciative of your support and that of all Americans who care about this country and its future for children, our children and grandchildren and future generations. Congressman, thanks for all you're doing for America. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and same to you, Lou.